Hello, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's time once again for the Access Arts Live weekly roundup of organ live stream action. Oh, do we have a good week of organ live stream action coming up for you? We will have we'll have top organist from Toronto to Tomsk, or from San Diego to Tomsk, and we will have you'll have cosmic music by Holst in Moscow, improvisations like you've never heard before at the Bergamo International Organ Festival, organ concerts with saxophones, with choirs, with violins, with sound animation, and more, all over the world. So before I go any further, let me remind you, if you're watching this on Facebook, please like the video. If you're watching this on any of our other platforms, please follow and or subscribe to Access Arts Live. We're on YouTube, X, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, and LinkedIn. So let me start with the first of today's live streams, because it's coming up in just a little while, in about 2 hours from now, I think, because it's 5 o'clock here in Paris, where I'm live streaming these days, which means that it's 11 o'clock in the morning in Toronto, and at 1 o'clock in the afternoon in Toronto is the first of this week's live streams. Tuesday, October 14th, St. James Episcopal Church in Toronto live streams Chris Dawes, the organist at Rosedale Presbyterian Church, the director of multiple choirs, and a collaborative pianist in the choral conducting programs at the University of Toronto Faculty of Music. Yes, a busy guy. The choirs that he conducts, or that he accompanies, the Orpheus Choir of Toronto. He's the music director of the Marian Singers of Greater Toronto. That's an 18-voice a cappella choir. He's the artistic director of the Georgetown Choral Society, which is an 80-voice choir. It's not uncommon around Episcopal churches to have smaller vocal ensembles and then larger vocal ensembles. Here in Paris, the American Cathedral has always had that. There's the cathedral choir, and then there's this larger choir whose name escapes me right now. We don't know what he's going to be playing, but he's a very expert guy, so he'll be playing well. And the organ has 87 ranks, 67 speaking stops, over 4 manuals and 6 divisions, 5,101 pipes. It was last rebuilt, 50 years ago? By L.I. Phelps and Associates, 1976. So that's first up. And you have plenty of time to get ready to see it, because we're well in advance in our timing today. What do we have for you next? Next, we have a very interesting pair for you, because they don't always, or even ordinarily, play the organ. Hold on a second. I have to clean up some of my notes here for just a moment, so that I don't get confused. So when I look at my notes, I'm just looking at my notes. I'm not looking at anything else. Okay, now it's sorted out. Wednesday, October 15th, the Temple Church London live streams the duo of organist and pianist Ross Stanley and Trish Clowes on the saxophone. That's at 1 o'clock London time, 2 o'clock European time, 9 in the morning on the East Coast, 6 in the morning on the West Coast, midnight down under in Australia. They're a duo. They've been playing around. They've been playing together for years, performing their own material, performing arrangements from all sorts of music, jazz, folk, classical traditions. And usually it's piano and saxophone. Okay, but Ross Stanley, who is a Yamaha artist and Hammond endorsee, actually had an organ scholarship at Marlborough College, and he studied organ at the Guildhall School when he was studying. And Trish is an associate artist at Wigmore Hall. She was a guest soloist with the NDR big band in Germany last November, performing her own music with them. They're one of those, and that's one of the regularly live streaming ensembles in Germany, which we sometimes cover. They're very much in with Wigmore Hall. That, in fact, when their last album came out, their last album was Journey to Where on Stony Lane Records, March of 2024. They had a release concert at Wigmore Hall. So this is a top keyboard saxophone duo visiting Temple Church London. Very interesting to see what they will do with that organ. It's a Harrison and Harrison organ, which was originally built down in 1927 in Scotland for a ballroom. Marcel Dupré came up from Paris to inaugurate the thing, and then in 1953 they shipped it down to London by rail. It's a Harrison and Harrison Limited organ, which was completely overhauled about 10 years ago in the Harrison and Harrison workshop in Durham. So we don't know what they're playing, but this is a top, very experienced, high-level duo and playing a top organ. Hard to go wrong with that, but there's competition on Wednesday. There are 3 live organ recitals on Wednesday. So you have to, all at about the same time of day is the thing. Well, no, wait, there are 2 at the same time of day. So here's the competition on Wednesday, October 15, Queen's College, Oxford live streams its weekly organ recital with Richard Moore, who's a suborganist and deputy choir director at Christ Church, Oxford, playing Bach, Reinken, Buxtehude, Böhm, and Johann Kuhnau. Finally, we have someone this week, and we know what he's actually going to be playing. Richard went through the usual courses of honors, the Royal College of Music, then he was an organ scholar at St. John's College, Oxford, then St. Paul's Cathedral, then he played at St. Martin in the Fields and Guildford Cathedral, and now he's, ensconced at Christ Church, Oxford. Hard to do much better than that if you're a cultivated academic type. What's he going to be playing? He's going to be playing their Frobenius organ, which they're very proud of. We'll give you the link to that if you want more details about what it is. But it was built by Frobenius in 1965. He'll be playing Illicit Bach by Moonlight from the Andreas Bach book. Reinken's Toccata in G, Buxtehude's Chaconne in C, Georg Böhm's Overture, Suite number 2, Johann Kuhnau's Biblical Sonata number 2, The Melancholy of Saul Assuaged. And he'll finish up with Bach's Passacaglia and Fugue in C, BWV 582. Sophisticated concert by a sophisticated organist on a fine Frobenius organ, which they say it set the standard for the classical organ revival in Britain. But you'd have to tell that to the Harrison and Harrison people who in the 1950s were already there at Temple Church London. But enjoy it anyway, if that's your choice. Also on Wednesday, there's another concert later in the day. So if you're not satisfied by the offerings at lunchtime in London, then how about a concert a little later by favorites of mine in Moscow? Yeah, it's Anavet Lugina and her partner Maximenko, Dmitry Maximenko. Wednesday, October 15th, the well-practiced organ duo Anavet Lugina and Dmitry Maximenko and the Cantus Laudis Choir play cosmic and contemplative music, including Holst Planets and works by Arvo Pärt, Tavener, Lauridsen, Vet Lugina herself, and more. That'll be at 7 o'clock in the evening European time, 1 o'clock on the East Coast and 10 o'clock on the West Coast. It's live streamed by the terrific people at Artbene, who live stream 2-3 concerts a week from the Catholic Cathedral in Moscow. Vet Lugina and Maximenko. Vet Lugina is the chief organist at the Catholic Cathedral in Moscow, and Maximenko is the same thing at the chief Anglican cathedral in Moscow. And they play together all the time. I do not know if there is more of a connection between that in terms of being a personal couple. So the idea of this concert is they interchange between planets and Gustav Holst's The Planets, and then more contemplative music by this list of composers. So they start out with Holst's Mars, the bringer of war, and then they play Arvo Pärt's Da Pacem, give us peace. Then they play Venus, the Holst Venus, the messenger of peace. And then Tavener's Song for Athena, and then they play Mercury, the winged messenger, and then they play Nunc Dimittis by Arvo Pärt, and that means now send. Literally, it means lettest thou thy servant depart in peace, etc. And so it goes through the whole thing with other contemplative pieces like Gelo and Lauridsen and Eric Whiteacre and the choir is a choir called Cantus Laudis. I can show you a photograph of the choir as well. I have their photo that I can also put up for you. Let me dig that up for you. There's more than one Cantus Laudus in the world. I think I found one in Poland as well as in Russia, and there may be one there may be one in Spain. But this is the one in Russia. This is a photo of them from an earlier poster that I found of them. So it's a mixed choir. Later this week, there's another choir that's going to be at the Cathedral Cathedral, which will be an all-men's choir. But that's what you have this week. That's what you have on Wednesday evening from the Catholic Cathedral in Moscow. It's cosmic music and meditative music. If you're in the mood for that, this is for you. And I do like this pair of Vet Lugina and Maximenko. They're always coming up with ingenious things to play. We then move on to Friday with this very casual looking guy. Don't be fooled. So he's not all that casual. We're off to the Bergamo International Organ Festival. Friday, October 17th, the Bergamo International Organ Festival continues with organist composer Paul GOUSSOT playing his own compositions, improvisations, and transcriptions of works by Handel, Elgar, Tournemire, Bosso, Ravel, and Duruflé. Wow. These concerts at the Bergamo Festival, they're full-scale concerts with an intermission and so it's quality stuff. This is not the first time we've told you about a live stream by Paul GOUSSOT, though. He was live streamed from Ely Cathedral at their weekly live stream in July of this year, the week of July 7th. I think that would have been July 9th that he was there. He's professor at the Haute École de Musique in Geneva for the continuo and for improvisation. And he's also the titular organist of the Dom Bedos organ at Saint Croix Abbey in Bordeaux, France, built and constructed in 1748. Plays at a lot of European festivals, the sacred music at Notre Dame de Paris, Festival, the Festival de la Haute Danteron, the Bach Organ Festival in Leipzig, the Bremen Music Festival, St. Albans Organ Festival, Haarlem, Lausanne, etc. He's very big on improvisational work. Well, I forgot to mention, he also teaches the organ at the top organ school in Paris, the Louis Malmaison Conservatory. It's in a suburb of Paris, but it's, top of the line for organ studies, along with the Paris Conservatory. His concert program, he starts out with an improvisation in the 18th century French style. Okay, and then he goes on to he does a transcription of Handel's flute dialogues in the Great Games, and in the coronation anthem #1 of Zadok the priest, and then there's an improvisation in the 18th century German style on a choral theme given by the Festival of Edward Elgar from the Enigma Variations. Then he'll play Nimrod as transcribed by Pierre Gouin. It goes on from there. Then an improvisation on a symphonic study, Opus 78, by Marco Enrico Bossi. So it's again and again what he's doing. Then another improvisation on Charles Tournemar's Te Deum, which in itself was played by Maurice Duruflé in 1956. And then he's going to finish doing improvisations on themes by Maurice Ravel to be chosen by the members of the audience. So improvisations, transcriptions, just very heavily involved in reworking previous themes. And there's a lot of that going on this year at the Bergamo International Festival. So I think it's kind of a theme of the festival. Top guy playing, if you're into improvisation on given themes, this is a terrific concert for you. Next up, if that doesn't, and that one was at that's at 9 o'clock on Friday evening, which is the weekly time for the Bergamo International Festival. 9 o'clock in Europe, 3 o'clock on the East Coast, noon on the West Coast. But if that doesn't suit you, starting an hour later, St. Paul's Episcopal Cathedral of San Diego has its weekly live stream of the organ recital by Canon Martin Green. He's a very articulate, engaging guy. He gives very clear and interesting explanations of what music he's chosen, what mix of pieces between American and European composers and from different time periods, and explains to you musically what he thinks is most interesting without ever leaving you in a cloud of musicological dust. Good guy. A very nice Sunday evening in Europe, Friday afternoon or Friday lunchtime concert on the West Coast. Then we move on to Saturday's concert, which is, this is one of my favorite kinds of concerts. So I'm happy to tell you about it. It's a mixed group. They do really ambitious, complex things at the Catholic Cathedral in Moscow. I think there's another photo that I want to put up as well for you to see. Those are the musicians, but this is a sand animation concert also. So let me spell it out for you. If you've never seen sand animation in a concert, check it out this Saturday, October 18th. Artbene live stream sand animation artist Lydia Miller illustrating the fairy tale The Princess and the Pea with organ and violin duo playing Bach, Handel, Boccherini, Marcello, Pachelbel, and a lot more. That's at 3 o'clock European time. I think that's the right time. Yeah, it's 3 o'clock European time, 9 in the morning on the East Coast, 6 in the morning on the West Coast, and 4 o'clock in the afternoon in Moscow, where it's happening. The musicians you see there are Anna Uchekina on the organ, and Natalia Kalinicheva and Mikhail Kalinichev. I don't know how to pronounce Russian names, on the cello. They're a regular pair, and these three have played before at the Catholic Cathedral in Moscow. So this is like a team. This is like a trio that has played together on a regular basis. So they should know what they're doing with each other. Now, the sand animation artist whom you see there, I'll move her over here now. This is Lydia Miller, and she just does such a lovely job with sand animation. You can see the way she does that. And during the concert, you will have displayed on screen it doesn't look like it's in color, but the images will be in color. You'll have it displayed on screen as the story is being told. So that even if you don't understand the Russian, in which language the story will be told, you can follow the story by means of the picture. And if you know the fairy tale of the Princess and the Peel, so just a lovely kind of family concert. And they do this on a regular basis. I mean, at least every semester, every quarter of the year, they do at least one of these sand animation live streams. And I'm just a great fan of them. The kind of music, they start out playing Bach's aria and a joke, Boccherini minuet, Jean-Philippe Rameau tambourine, then there's Couperin's the trumpet, then there's Handel's The Arrival of the Queen of Sheba from the Oratorio Solomon, Pachelbel's The Nightingale. It just some Brahms, some Mozart, some Schubert. Yeah, it ends with a Schubert military march. I mean, it's just a lovely selection of lots of different kinds of music while telling a fairy tale. And it's just the way the sand images are constructed and changed is just magical. I just love this stuff. So if you've never seen it, like I said to start out, check it out. And then we have a second. We have a second concert, also from the Moscow Cathedral on Saturday, as they often do. Catholics love their Virgin Mary, and the Catholic Cathedral in Moscow was no exception. They're live streaming Bach, Coelho, and Guillaume de Machaut with the men's choir Renaissance Voices performing the medieval Mass for Notre Dame, Saturday, October 18th. That's at 7 in the evening in Europe, 8 o'clock in Moscow, 1 o'clock on the East Coast, and 10 in the morning on the West Coast. I was unable to find I don't think I was able to find a dependable photo for the ensemble Renaissance Voices. It is an all men's chorus, which is very traditional in Russia, used to be very traditional in Sweden too, where I spend half my time. But as I was looking around, I found all sorts of photos of Renaissance choruses, and I couldn't be sure that any of them were the right ones. But this is the organist, who's a very interesting guy. His name is Ivan Zinoviev. He's only like 24 years old. Went to the Rimsky-Korsakov School in a conservatory in St. Petersburg, which is where he was born. Then he went to the Moscow Conservatory. I don't know if he's still at the Moscow Conservatory, because now he's a soloist with the North Caucasus Philharmonic, and he's also regularly performing concerts around Russia: St. Petersburg, Moscow, Kazan, Yaroslavl. Both as a soloist and in an ensemble. You can, if you look up the if you're daring enough, you look up the North Caucasus Philharmonic and find out more about him and keep track of his activities. Apparently, that Philharmonic actually does do live streams. So we've added them to our list of people to watch just in case they're doing a live stream that you might want to enjoy. So this will be Ave Maria's. Oh, it's on the theme of Ave Maria, but they start out with some Bach, which I think is so that Ivan Zinoviev can show off. Let not young souls be smothered out before they do quaint deeds and fully flaunt their pride. He'll be doing Bach's Fantasia and Fugue in G minor, the choral prelude Nun kommt der Heiden Heiland, then the choral prelude Jesu meine Zuversicht, and then the choral prelude Herzlich tut mich verlangen. I'm not going to give you the B double V numbers. Then they'll do an Ave Maristella, the Ave Maria the Star, which is anonymous. And then they'll do this 14th century Mass for Notre Dame by Guillaume de Machaut, which is, if you're in early music, if you have an early music interest, it's that would be something to enjoy with the men's choirs singing it, because they didn't let women sing in choirs in those days. The old days. Glad they're gone. So then we move on to Sunday. I only have two more to tell you about. And it really is just washing out to be that these live stream roundups, they take about a half an hour, and there's no way around it. Here's the next one. This is the weekly live stream coming out of St. Eustache Church. Sunday, October 19th, St. Eustache Church live streams the multi-award-winning Julian Emmanuel Becker playing Bruns, Alain, Louis Vierne, and Akira Nishimura on the great Van den Heuvel organ there. That's at the usual 5 o'clock time on their for their weekly Sunday live streams. He'll be playing Bruns Prelude in E minor. Jehan Alain, that great French organist composer who died young, died at the very beginning of World War II. His second fantasy. Louis Vierne's Pièce de Fantaisie, Deuxième Suite, Opus 53, Part 4, Feu Follet, and Part 6, Toccata. You figure that one out. And Akira Nishimura's Prelude, Vision in Flames. Akira Nishimura is very contemporary, 1953 to 2023, lasted about 70 years. Becker is the youngest prize winner ever at the St. Albans International Organ Competition in England in 2023. Then he won the International Bach Competition in Leipzig in 2024, the German National Music Competition in 2025, then the International Organ Competition in Wiesbaden, another one, the Bach Biennale in Weimar, and more. Now, I can't give you the whole list. He first started studying at the age of 7, then went to the Hanover Hochschule, and since 2023, he's been at the Leipzig Hochschule. He's a composer and arranger as well. So looks like a very young guy, but don't be deceived, man. This guy's on his way. And I have just one more live stream to tell you about this week. And it will be from another of our regular dependable standbys, Dmitry Ushakov. Monday, October 20th, in an exclusively online live stream, the Tomsk Philharmonic's resident organist Dmitry Ushakov plays Mendelssohn's Sonatas number 4, 5, and 6, having already played numbers 1, 2, and 3 in a previous broadcast. He's doing all 6 of Mendelssohn's organ sonatas. This will be at 1 o'clock on the East Coast, 7 in the morning No, this will be at 1 o'clock in Europe, because it's at 7 in the evening, Krat time, which is in Siberia. So it's 1 o'clock in Europe, 7 o'clock on the East Coast, 4 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast, and 3 o'clock in the afternoon down under in Australia. Is that right? No, that's not right. It's got to be 9 p.m. in Australia, 2 hours later than in Tomsk. Okay. There's not much more to tell you about that. If you're interested in Mendelssohn, he'll be playing it. In between, I can show you a photo. What you're actually going to see is, I think I've got a photo that shows him in place. So you'll see exactly what you're going to get if you tune into this. I hope I have that photo. It's not the largest organ in the world. It's a respectable concert organ for the Tomsk Philharmonic, and you'll see him seated in that little space. In that, you have a piano off to the right, but right in the middle is where the piano console is. And he turns around and he will talk about each of the pieces in between. Of course, it'll be in Russian. So brush up on your Russian. But anyway, if you like Mendelssohn, here's a chance to hear 3 more Mendelssohn sonatas played one after the other on the organ. Folks, that's what we have for you this week. I hope that one more, some, or any of these live streams uplifts you, inspires you, or just shows you a heck of a good time. I'm sure that the Paul GOUSSOT concert at Bergamo's International Festival will be a very sophisticated concert. But I also think that the earlier that evening, the Catholic Cathedral concert with Vetlugin and Maximenko with the host planets and then all these meditative pieces in between, it's just a lovely idea. And that's one reason I like that couple so much, because they keep coming up with lovely ideas of how to work with the organ and choirs or other instruments, and just ingenious musical offerings, So, well, for the rest of it, I've told you about all of them. So let me remind you before I sign off, if you're watching this on Facebook, please do like the video if you like it. And if you're watching on any other of our platforms, please follow and or subscribe to Access Arts Live to help us build up the algorithm. We're on YouTube, X, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, and LinkedIn. And if you do, you can be sure that you will get live links to more than 1,000 live performances this year. Nobody else can make that claim. Nobody else is covering all the live streams that are going on out there. It's all localized individual groups promoting their own live streams and not promoting them all that well. So that's why Access Arts Live is here. I hope you've enjoyed this. I will be back in about an hour and a half at 7 o'clock European time, 1 o'clock on the East Coast, and 10 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast with this week's roundup of chamber music live stream action. So ciao for now.